Hi everyone, thank you to be here once again for a new video about obscure computer system from the 80s, and today we will talk about the Sanyo PHC-25. I know maybe you don't know it, it's normal, because it's a very obscure system. It didn't sell well at all, even in its own country, Japan. So I'm gonna present it to you in this video. It's not as huge as you may think. It's not because the box is big. On the contrary, the computer itself is quite small. But I bought this box a few years ago, and it's full of, well, one PHC-25 computer and a lot of stuff around, software, expansions, joysticks. We're gonna open the box together and study what's in it. In details, we're gonna take our time, as usual. We're gonna spin the computer to seize its design, look at what different types of connectors it offers. Then we're gonna open it and see what's inside. And after that, we will go to the test bench, where we will switch on the computer, test it basic, try to understand its peculiarities. And of course, we will try to play one or two games, but I have to warn you, this computer has nearly no games, no good games. They are all very crap. And this leads me to the other subject of the day, which is the Retro Programmers United for Obscure Systems. It's a group of passionate people like me, well, it's normal, I started it, who try to program new games for computers which didn't have the chance to have many games. The limit is under 100 games at the time of their marketing. And guess what? This is exactly the case of the PHC-25. So for the next few months, me, some other people, and maybe you, if you're interested, we will try to program new games for this computer. And well, I will talk about that later, more in details, so you can know how to participate. Okay, are you ready for all this? Let's go. Okay, like I told you, we're gonna open the big box. It's not the original box from Sanyo, it's a random box. But what is funny is this sticker. It's a promotional sticker for a French car, a very old one, the Visa from Citroën, and it says "Ça c'est une auto." This is a car. So let's open the big box and see what's inside. There are several other boxes. The first one here is a box of tapes, game tapes, but also educational programs like Capital, to learn about the capitals of the world. And this is very typical inlay. And sadly, it's the same for all the games or programs. For example, this one is software, but it's the same inlay, drawing, or Invasion, which is a kind of Space Invader clone, I guess. Also, still the same design, which looks like a girl and a boy, very kawaii, very Japanese style, and they're like hugging. It's kind of a logo or mascot of the PHC-25. Okay, we're gonna test this software a bit later. Here is the synthesizer PSG01 from Sanyo still, and this is quite particular. If you want to add sound and music capabilities to the PHC-25, and if you want to add joystick plugs, then you have to buy this PSG expansion. It was fairly common, at least if you had the money, to buy the PSG1 along with the computer. But as the computer itself is a bit rare, this one is even more rare. Do you say more rare or rarer? Rarer seems the thing to say, but it's difficult to say. I wonder. Okay, next we have the user documentation in French. This is a small version because there is also a big one with a blue cover, several hundred pages, but this is a small one. What do we have here? Oh yeah, this is the video cable, SCART cable, RGB, in its original Sanyo box. Very nice. This is the power plug. This is the RF cable, because you can connect the computer with the RGB cable or directly onto an old TV antenna. And here is the tape recorder lead, you know, to load and save your programs. And we were talking about the tape recorder. Here it is. It's a 10-side tape recorder in its box. It looks like it's new. We're gonna test it too. All right. And here we have two boxes of the same joystick. It's not the original Sanyo joysticks. I guess it's a guy who sold me the computer would put two of this in the big box. But we're gonna try it too, see if it works. And at last, here is the original box of the computer. See, it's written 1 unit from Sanyo, ordinateur individuel PHC-25, which means personal computer PHC-25 from Sanyo Electric, made in Japan. What's inside? Of course, there is the computer itself. Cool. Well, we've seen all the boxes of the stuff that was inside the big box. Now we're gonna open the little boxes. All right, let's first have a look at the tape recorder. Well, it's still in its original box. It's a 10-side magnetophone à cassette, which means tape recorder. I didn't know this brand, but it's very cool that it's still in its original packaging. Wow, yeah, power cord. And wow, look at this. Here is the original documentation. Cool. We will learn how to use it. And there's even a technical diagram, which is nice. If there is a fault or something, we know what happens inside and we know where to look. Cool. Wow. It looks brand new. I think it was hardly ever used. Incredible. Oh yeah. You can add batteries here if you want, or plug it here, the power cord. Volume knob. Oh, there is a switch to select computer or music, and then the different connectors. Wow. There is a big speaker here. There is even the handle, you know, to walk in the street with it and listen to your music, like in the 80s. Very nice. Okay, we'll test that later. Let's have a look at the PHC-01. Here is a ribbon cable to connect the expansion to the computer, I guess. Nice original box. There is documentation, which is nice. We will learn how to use it and we will be able to test it efficiently. And look at that. Isn't it nice? A very nice piece of engineering so far. I mean, when you think about it, it's quite weird. It's like they didn't finish completely the computer and then you have to buy this to add sound and music capabilities to the PHC-25. But I like this weird expansion stuff that nobody bought at the time. So here you have two speakers and you have a volume control for the speaker output, but behind you have also a sound output plug, RCA type, which means that you can output the sound to your amplifier or something bigger. Here is a connector to use a ribbon cable and connect it to the computer. And that's it. Oh yeah, here are the two joystick plugs, DB9 Atari type, I think. And it's good quality. It's gold plated. Quite nice. Okay, it looks new too. I don't know if it was used quite often. I adapt it. Well, I look really forward to test this in a few minutes. And then we have to open the computer box itself. Yeah. Beep. Oh, there is still the protective sleeve of the PHC-25. Incredible. Okay, are you ready to remove it? For the first time in many years and reveal the computer itself. Wow, look at that. It looks really new. I don't know if it was ever used, in fact. No signs of time. Where did all the 40 last years passed on this computer? Look at this. It's perfect. Incredible. Okay, it looks exactly like the PHC-20 and the PHC-10 I showed you in the introduction. The same case is used here, but the keys arrangements are a bit different. And this is a top system of the range. Okay, well, you're used to it now. I will put this computer on our little spinning podium so we can enjoy the lines of the system, and we will look around and see what type of connectors there is. So let's go, let's do that. Okay, I put the PHC-25 on the podium so we can take our time and see the nice curves of the system itself. The nice colors too, orange, beige. Well, when I was a young boy, I encountered one of these systems in the International Fair in Bordeaux, and it struck me as one of the first computer I ever saw. I remember I touched and typed the keyboard and I didn't understand what was happening on screen, but it was mind-blowing for me. So this color scheme, beige, gray and orange, stayed in my brain for many years. So I'm very happy to have one today and to be able to test it today. So the keyboard is quite normal. I'm gonna stop the spin right now. It's a calculator type keyboard, and there is a membrane underneath. This is why the feeling is not like you don't hear any click or something. It's quite soft, but it's better feeling than, for example, the ZX81 or even the ZX Spectrum. So it's a average keyboard. We noticed that there are 4 function keys up there, and in fact, if you press Shift and you press the function keys, you access 4 more functions. These are programmable, so we will see that when we switch on the computer. There are 4 arrow keys here, which is not very convenient to play games if they are all aligned on one line, a bit like on the ZX Spectrum 2. Not very nice. Escape key to stop the programs, graph to access graphic symbols, which are not indicated on the keys, but we will see that later. There is a control key, a shift key, another one here, lock key. This is to lock the capital letters, and you can see that you're in capital mode because this small light will be on. Talking about small light, there is another one here. It's a power LED light. When you turn on the computer, this one should be on. Insert delete key. And after that, well, it's normal keyboard, QWERTY keyboard. But look at this here. There is a key with nothing on it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's an adaptation from the Japanese system, and maybe on the Japanese system there is something on this key. I don't know. Maybe we should compare with a Japanese keyboard. I will do this while editing the video, but right now I don't really know. Or maybe they wanted the keyboard to be in kit form. The user could finish it with whatever he wanted. You know, you can take a pencil and draw your own key, so you will be happy. For example, I could write here Olympics, and then I will have an Olympics key on this computer. Yeah. No, seriously, I really don't understand. We will test this key when we will switch on the computer to see if something happened. Okay, let's finish the tour. There is nothing on this side, and behind we have, of course, all the connectors. Here is a DIN connector for the tape recorder. Here is another DIN connector, this time for the monitor. It's a RGB video output. Here is another video output. This one is composite output, but it's only in black and white. And then we have a printer connector and an expansion connector. These two are nice because they have brackets like this, and this is very convenient when you want to plug in something because they will close automatically, and if you want to disconnect you just have to stretch them out, and well, it's sturdy when it's connected and it's very practical. So bravo, Sanyo. And here we have the power plug, which means that there is inside the power supply unit is here, inside the computer. And that is a nice thing too, because you don't have to worry about a PSU on your desk or somewhere else. Everything is built in. So on the French system and European system, this is 220 volts, and for the Japanese and US market, I think this should be 110 volts. Oh yeah, one last note. In fact, the expansion connector is actually used to connect the sound and music expansion, the PHC-25. But if you look at the original Sanyo brochures, they say that there will be soon a disk drive and a memory expansion, but they never made them, and it's just vaporware. So the expansion bus is only used for the music and sound expansion. And on the right side, there is the power switch, which is logical because the PSU is inside just here. I think we talked about everything. So now maybe it's time to, take the computer, open it, and see what's inside. All right, I just removed 5 screws. I'll show you where there were 3 here, 3 small screws, and 2 here, 1 here, 1 here. So it's fairly simple to open the computer. Once this is done, you just lift up the keyboard. Wow, and well, let's have a look. First thing I can say, the condition is pristine. I mean, this computer was never used, or maybe 1 or 2 times, but it's very clean. Very clean. It's been stored in a dry environment with no humidity at all. It's very, very nice. Wow. First thing we notice is all these cables going on this connector, and a bunch of other cables going there. This is all used to communicate with the keyboard. Here we have the power supply. Like I told you earlier, this is built in the computer, which is a nice feature. And well, there are a lot of 74LS chips like this, you know, all around, which takes a lot of place. This makes me think that the conception of the computer itself dates back to like 1980 or 1981, because from 1981, 1982, a lot of computers, a lot of 8-bit computers used a gate array chip, also called ULA, like in the Sinclair ZX81 or ZX Spectrum or RIC Atmos or many other computers of that time. And this type of conception is a bit outdated. Well, it takes a lot of place, so much place that they had to build the computer with 2 electronic boards. We see the first one here, but there is another one underneath. So it's quite uncommon that such little computer was built with 2 electronic boards. Well, why not? But it's really crowded in here. So the big chips here, the three chips are ROM chips, 8 kilobytes each, which make 24 kilobytes, and this is used to store the basic language. Here you have RAM chips, which gives the computer 16K of RAM. In fact, when we will switch on the computer, we will see that we have only 14K free to program. And the big chip here is, of course, the microprocessor. It's NEC D780C, which is a clone of the Zilog Z80A. Here is the crystal, the clock at 4 MHz. Well, it's subdivided after, I think, into smaller frequencies to make everything work. But that's it on this board. We have the big connector here, which is used to communicate with the other board underneath. And, well, we try to disconnect the first board here, like this, and flip it around. Nice. Okay. At last we see the other board. Very interesting, because the power supply here is the same board. It's not a separated board like very often seen in this type of computers. It's the same electronic board. Okay. This is another ROM chip, which is used to store graphic symbols. And it differs if you have the Occidental computer or the Japanese version. Because in the Japanese version, this ROM chip stores all the Japanese symbols. Okay, and this is a lot of 74LS chips again. And here too, they manage a lot of things like communication and so on. Important here, you have the second most important chip of the computer, which is the graphic chip. This one is from Mitsubishi. It's a M5C2547P, which is in fact a clone of the more known 6847 from Motorola, which is a well-known graphic chip used, for example, in the Tandy color computer or the Dragon 32 or the VTech Laser 200 and 300 and many other computers. These chips offer 4 screen modes with very particular colors that you immediately recognize when you see a screenshot, with a lot of green and orange. The maximum resolution is 256 by 192 in 3 colors, I think. And there are several other modes with less resolution but more colors. We will see that later. And that's it. We have all the connectors here. Well, yes, nothing more to say. So I think we will close up everything, rescrew the system and put it back on the test bench and switch it on and see what happens. Cool, we are at last at the test bench, ready to switch on the computer. I have connected the TV through a SCART lead. I have also connected the computer to my PC through the tape interface cable, and thus I will be able to play WAV files on my PC that will go into the PHC-25. And for him, it will be like he was listening programs from a tape recorder. Okay, ready to switch on the computer? Let's go. The first thing that the computer asks me is screen. What do I want for screen? So the answer is 1 or 2. If I press 1, this means that I want to use only one screen. And thus I have 14K RAM free to program. If I had answered 2, then the computer will reserve 6K of RAM to store a second screen. What does that mean? What is it used for? Well, in fact, it's when you want to program and converse with the computer on the first screen, this one, for example, and you want to draw other things like graphics in colors on the second screen. Then the second screen will not be garbaged by the listing you make or the new commands you type. And you can switch between the two screens with a Control Q. We'll see that later. But then you only have 8K free of RAM to program. So it's not very useful for me right now, but some games make use of it because they can show you something on one screen and then while you're reading, for example, they can start to draw on the second screen and display the second screen instantly when you're ready, for example. Okay, let's stay with screen 1, and it's 14K of RAM free to program something. We can test the arrow keys, which are, well, simple. They do what they are supposed to do. And they are useful because when you want to edit one line of a program, you just have to move in front of the line, go through it, insert or delete some characters, type enter, and there you go. Very easy addition. We can also test the famous blank key. This one. Yeah, it does nothing. Almost. But we can explain this by the fact that the PHC-10 and the PHC-20 use the same keyboard, but on the PHC-25 they added a new line at the top of the case with the function keys and the arrow keys, thus giving more rooms on the main keyboard for many letters and symbols to be used. And maybe they had so much room that on the Occidental version there is even one blank key which is free of any symbols. When you compare with the Japanese keyboard, there are some symbols here, but which are not needed on the Occidental one. But this key is useful for one thing. If you press graph key, you can have access to symbols like a heart or a circle. And if I press the blank key, there it goes, a diamond shape. Okay, so this is the only function of this key right now. Speaking about graphing symbols, you have these symbols which are used to, I don't know, make card games, and some more here on the keyboard which can be used to draw frames, tables, squares. And there is also graph E for vertical line and graph minus for horizontal line, and even graph X for graphical X, because the normal X is not the same and the capital X is not the same. We have 3 different X's. Wow! But this is one of the main drawbacks of the PHC-25, is that the characters are not user redefinable. No, you are stuck with this. These are the only graphic characters that you can use in your games. What a shame. This is very limited. Even more than the Mattel Aquarius, that is to say. And you will see later maybe that most of the PHC-25 games are boring because of this. Speaking about limitation, there is no sound. No sound at all. If I press a key, I don't hear anything. And there are some sound and music commands in BASIC, but if I use them, we'll see that later, and I don't have the PSG-01 extension, then it does nothing. And that's not very nice from Sanyo, because if you read the leaflet and the advertisement, well, it's not clear at all, because they list that their computer can make music, play sounds, but they're not very clear that you have to buy the PSG-01 to do such things. So, user graphic characters not redefinable and lack of sound, this is so far very limited. Let's test the function keys. Here, if I press F1, the basic statement run is printed and a return code also, so it would have run any program that we have entered previously. For example, if I say 10 CLS, 20 print Olympics, 30 go to 20, and if I press F1, yeah, he runs the program instantly. Nice. Ctrl-C to stop the program. If I press F2, this is to load the program. I don't want it now. F3 is print. F4 is list. Okay, yes. And I've got listing of my program. You can also press Shift and F1, F2, F3, F4, which will give you in all 8 different function keys. But what is even more interesting, that there is a command which is called key and a number, and you can say Olympics, for example, And now if I press F1, it will print Olympics. This is very useful. You can define your own function keys. And there are some games that use this feature. But you are limited with 8 characters, not more. So you can't enter a whole sentence, very complicated. No, it will take only the 8 first characters. But if I say key 8 and CLS, for example, but I add plus CHR $13 return, and a CHR $13 is the code for the return key, enter, validation. So if I press Shift F4, which is in fact F8, imprinted CLS, clear screen, but it executed immediately the command because I had added CHR $13. Nice feature. Not very, very useful, but nice. Another interesting command, not seen very often on this kind of small computers, is the time command. If I print the time variable, it will give me a number of the time passing by. I don't know how they do that. Maybe they have a timer in the computer. I don't know. I hadn't noticed it. But it's interesting. It's not directly seconds, but I have typed a little program. So if I type Claude, this is for a cassette load. I will load a small program that I made yesterday that I saved in waveform, and I will load it from my computer to the PHC-25. Okay, I have started the WAV file on the PC. It should recognize it here. Cool, it's finished. List. See, it's a small program. And on line 30, we print a variable divided by 360, which will give us seconds, in fact. Run. See, seconds passing by. Not very precise, but alike. So this is useful too, because you can use that in some games to give, like a small delay for the player to do something. Well, it's something I've not seen on many computers at that time, and above all in 1982. Okay, let's talk about the different graphic resolution and text resolution of the PHC-25. Well, I warn you, this is a mess. It's very complicated to understand. I don't know how they did that, because the graphic processor is the one from Motorola, the MC6847. It's well known, it's used in many different computers, like the 10D color computer, for example. But I have read the documentation 1,000 times and I still don't really understand. It's really obscure. At least the explanations. So I'm gonna try to explain you the different resolution, different graphic modes available. The first one that you reach by screen 1, not to be confused with the screen 1 that the computer asks you at the start. It's not exactly the same thing. But if I use now a basic command which says screen 1, I'm still in the same mode because this is the first mode, the text mode. Okay, no graphic, only text, 32 columns by 16 lines. But even there, without any graphics, I can choose exactly the colors I want for my text or my background. No, it's not possible. You only have very limited choices in this mode between green, dark green, orange, dark orange. That's it. Yeah. But in screen 2 mode, I have access to a graphic resolution, a low graphic resolution of 64 by 48 pixels. These are very big pixels, yeah. But this is the only mode on the PHC-25 where I will be able to choose whichever color I want to draw my lines or to plot my dots. But that doesn't mean that I can choose my own colors for the text. No, for the text it will be different and I will only have choice between some colors. It's very strange. For example, in this simple program that I typed in, and I've made a mistake, so I'll show you how I can edit a line. I use the arrows and go to my error here it's not 32, 31, and not 16, but 15. I press return, and it's okay. The line have been edited. Now I run my program, and here it draws bars of each colors available in graphic mode. This is nice, but these are very big pixels. And now I will try to display some text, random text in random colors. And you see that I, in fact, don't have many choice of colors for the text. Only yellow, red, green, and dark green. That's it. You can't print text in the 8 colors that you can use for the graphic mode. For the lines, for the pixels, it's different from the text. So you never have a mode on the PHC-25 where it's simple, where it's cool, where you can use all the colors available for the text and for the graphics. It's very strange and very frustrating too. And now I have loaded another example. It's almost the same. You're gonna see that, run. But instead of vertical bars, it's random lines everywhere and in random colors. So you can see here the size of the pixel, which are really big. It's not very useful to make nice games, for example. And still, if you try to print some text above your graphics, it's the same problem. No choice of colors. Yellow, red, green or dark green. That's a pity. And now I can show you the third mode. Mode 3, the graphic resolution is better. It's 128 by 192 pixels, which starts to be nice. But you can then only use 4 colors. In fact, 2 groups of 4 colors, and you have to choose one. We're going to see that right now. But the text display is only 16 lines by 16 columns, big text. And the colors are limited too. So that's another fail, though this is a graphic mode which are often used in games. I have loaded another example to show you how it goes. Let's run it. And this is the same principle. Random lines in random colors with text displayed on top. But you see that the X text is wider because it's only 16 lines by 16 columns. So it's not very useful. And the lines, you see here that in fact I only have choice between 4 colors: green, blue, red, and yellow. But there is another group of colors that I will show you. But this is very limited. What can you do with that? Unbelievable. Okay, I have loaded the official demo of the PHC-25, which makes use a lot of the mode 3 that we just seen. So if I run the demo, see, this is exactly what we saw. Yellow color, blue color, and green. Well, for now it's just red and green. But wait. See how the blue fills the shapes, and this is another great thing about the PHC-25, at least one. It's that there is a paint command, which is very useful because it can fill any shapes with the color you want. So this is the first color group, and this is the second color group, which is nice. It's like pink, orange, white, and cyan, light blue. This is also a demo of the line command, which can be used to draw lines, like I showed you just before, but also to draw rectangles, fill or not filled. This is the other group color, which is nice. It's like a pastel one. I love it. Okay, this was to show you that the mode 3, even if it has a lot of limitation, only 4 colors used for the graphics and limited colors for the text and average resolution. This is the mode often used in some games or programs. Okay, and the last mode, mode 4, is interesting too because it's the one which has the highest graphic resolution of 256 by 192. and the text is back to 32 columns by 16 lines, but everything is in 2 colors only, monochrome. Okay, for a little demonstration, this time I'm starting the computer in mode 2 screens, and then I will load the demo, which is in fact a little program found in the official documentation for this graphic mode, the mode 4, which can draw nice shapes. Well, you're gonna see. List. See, it's not too long. And if I run the program, it asks me what coefficient do I want. And let's choose, for example, 0.65. Now we're in mode 4. It's monochrome, so it's light green on dark green, but you can also do something in black on white background, for example. And this small program draws geometric shapes like this. And this is the highest resolution, 256 by 192. So sometimes, yes, there are programs or games that use this resolution, but with only 2 colors. So see, the program stopped, and as I chose screen 2 at the start of the computer, I'm back to the screen 1 where I can see the program itself. But if I press Ctrl Q, it shows me the second screen. So I never lose the graphic screen. Even if I draw something like this and the program stopped, I can still go back to that screen and admire what I have done. I press Ctrl Q again to go back to the first screen. Okay, oof. We've seen all the graphic modes and, well, let's conclude, there is none that is very useful with all the features. There is always something that prevents you from doing nice things, nice games with a lot of colors everywhere and a nice resolution. It's a bit a shame. Okay, now I have connected the PHC-01 expansion to the PHC-25 via the ribbon cable to the extension port. And when I switch on the computer, the expansion is on also. You can see the small red light here. So it's powered by the computer. There is a volume control. But I warn you, it's very loud. I mean, the speakers might be very small, but they are very powerful. You're gonna see that. So I'm gonna leave the volume to something like 6. Okay, so this sound unit adds some sound features to the PHC-25. Something that might have been normal from the start, built in, but no, you have to buy this. Okay, if I press a key, listen carefully. Okay, now there is a sound when I type on the keys. This is useful and should have been here from the start. To play with the PHC-01, you have 2 instructions, sound and play. We're gonna see play later, but the sound instruction is very interesting, very rich, but oh my god, the explanations in the user documentations are impossible. I mean, you must have made like 5 years of studies to understand what they're saying. The chipset inside the PHC-01 is a famous one from General Instrument. It's a 8910. It's big family with the 8912 too, which was used in the Mattel in television. But the 8910 was used, for example, in the Color Genie computer, or the Auric one, or the Vectrex, and some other chips of the same family in the ZX Spectrum Plus 2 or the CPC from Amstrad, and so on and so on. So it's a quite common sound chipset in the 80s, and well, all these brands succeeded in explaining very simply how to use this sound chip with their computer. But here, it's very complicated. I don't understand at all the features. But the possibilities are rich because you have 3 channels. You can add white noise to each channel or not. You have a lot of envelopes, different, 15 I think. So the possibilities are great. Hopefully, in the user documentation, there is an example, quite long, something to type in, and I have typed it. Let me show you. This is a listing. You see a lot of sound instructions with some parameters. but they're not simple to understand. So I'm gonna run this sound demo program so we can hear what the PHC-01 can do. Are you ready? Let's go. Yeah. Ooh, it's a bomb. It's very loud. Waves. Wow. The speakers are very tiny, but... Whoa. Yeah, a bird. Quee, 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 quee. It's a computer crazy. Phone? Hello? Is there someone here? Oh no! Laser beam. And that's it. Very interesting, no? Yeah, it's quite capable and you can play along and do some very interesting stuff with this expansion. Okay, the second instruction to play with the PHC-01 is a play command, which is far more simple than the sound command. You just have to type play and then letters corresponding to a note, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, for example. Listen. Fairly simple, no? But this command, in fact, uses the macro music language, MML, which was commonly used in some devices of the 80s, like some computers. And this is quite useful because you can add some letters to play with parameters. For example, choose the octave, the tempo, the duration of the notes, and so on. For example, if I put O for octave, and this time I choose octave 1, and C, C, D, F, 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 G, A, B, C, D, E, for example, and we listen to that. Cool, no? Or you can also play with 3 voices, not only the first one. For example, if I choose octave 1 and I will play like 6 music notes, C, D, E, F, G, F, and then a comma and another series, this will be played by the second channel. And if I choose octave 2, G, F, G, F, G, F, like this, and the third channel, octave 3, and I will choose something different, like this, and listen carefully. This is not very beautiful, but it's on 3 voices. That's cool. Remember when I was saying that the NEC PC-6001 had many things in common with the PHC-25? Well, this is one of the common commands, and I have found on the web an old Japanese song which was programmed for the NEC PC-6001. I have typed it on the PC and I have just loaded it on the PHC-25. If we put list, again, and I will stop here, you see that there are a lot of data in MML with different parameters, sound durations, octaves, and so on. So let's play it and see if it works, because it was not planned to work on a PHC-25, but the program has loaded and maybe we can run it. Excellent. Another proof that the NEC PC6001 is in some ways compatible with the Sanyo PHC-25. Cool. And some French guys, genius, even made this possible. A nice song for the PHC-25. I can show you the listing. It's quite huge with a lot of data. Okay, so let's run it and listen carefully. Oh yeah, it needs some poking first. Okay, we're gonna stop here. Impressive, no? Okay, Olympics, everything was very interesting, but too serious. We want to play something. And this is where, well, we got a problem. I've got to tell you, there's nearly no games for the PHC-25 or only crap games. Maybe one or two that are good, but we're gonna test one or two, huh? And you're gonna tell me what you think. So I have plugged in the PHC-01 because we don't know, maybe the games will use some sound and maybe the game will use the joystick. So I plugged in the joystick that I showed you at the start of this video. I have loaded a game. Let's run it. Wow, do you use the joystick? Yes. And this game uses sound, which is nice, no? Okay, it's a breakout type game programmed, I think, in BASIC. And I know it's crap, but seriously, it's one of the games that you can really play on the PHC-25 because the others are horrible. And you see the different colored wall on the right of the screen. This means that they have used some graphic resolution to be able to display several colors, because the rest is in text mode, for example the ball, and you can't even display a green ball on a dark background. Only green on dark green. This is kind of limitation that tend to make games for the PHC-25 very helpful, very disturbing. So yeah, this is bad, but this is exactly how people who owned PHC-25 at the time were passing some time, and we have to think about them today because it must have been very difficult, and I think that most of them must be in jail now. Yeah. Ah, c'est obligé. Because you don't recover from this. Well, that's it. That's one of the best games of the PHC-25. All right, we're gonna test one last game. I think it will be better than the first one. We choose screen one, and we're gonna try to make it work through the tape recorder. Comme à l'époque, we say in French. All right, close and play, and we cross fingers, hope that it will work. Yeah, he found the game. Invade. Cool. We just have to wait a few minutes and let's play. Cool, it worked. We can stop the tape and see if it works. Run. Invasion. La suite de notre programme dans quelques instants. Yeah, it's always in French. All the software are in French. I don't know why. It's not a French computer. It seems like we can find any software in Japan for the PHC-25. It's very strange. That looks good so far. Yeah, it works. Incredible. This tape is 40 years old and it works perfectly with this tape recorder. Okay, quel niveau de jeu? 1 to 5. It means what level? First one? Joystick, yeah. Wow, cool. What, I say joystick? No. I say joystick, but it doesn't work. And there's no... Oh, that's strange, because I played another version from the internet and there was some sound and I could play with joystick. Well, anyway, it was to show you that this is the best PHC-25 game. Ah, I'm very bad at this. Voulez-vous rejouer? Yes, I want to play again. Oh no. Okay, let's play level 5 just to see. Joystick, please. Well, it looks like it's an early version because the version we see online is not the same. Anyway, you see that it is on the mode 3 resolution we talked about earlier. And it's only 4 colors, you know, blue, green, red, yellow. And there are a lot of artifacts on the screen due to display refreshment. Yeah, but even with this crappy graphics, it's the best PHC-25 game. Oh, there's a special spaceship. It's quite difficult. And see, most of the games, I mean, the best games were programmed in this mode. Yeah, nice resolution, but limited colors. It's a shame. Okay, I will try to kill them all right now. Yeah, good. And this one too. Oh no! The last one killed me. Well, anyway, I think we reached the end of this video because I wanted to show you these games. A crappy one and the best one, which is still crappy. And this is why I told you about the Retro Programmers United for Obscure Systems, because you can join us and try to program new games for this poor little computer, which didn't have the chance to have many nice games when he was young. So please join us on our Discord server so you can play with us and do some more games for the PHC-25. Of course, I will put the link in the description and I will be happy to see you there. Thank you very much who have watched the video till the end. I know it must be quite long, but it was interesting, you know, to study in depth this kind of computers. At least it's what I like to do, and I hope you like it too, to spend some extra time to learn more about these obscure systems. If you want me to make some more videos like this, you can make some micro donations, you know, with the heart and the dollar under the video. You can click on it. You can subscribe, of course. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe so you won't miss any new video I will make. And leave me a comment too. I'm very happy to read all your comments and see how you enjoyed or not this video. Well, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for watching. See you very soon. Bye.